What's going on, guys? It's Investor Jordan here, and Bitcoin has officially hit a new all-time high. And yes, we're trading at $111,000, which is absolutely massive. We've been talking about this for weeks now over on our X, and I said once Bitcoin broke above 100k, but more importantly, once it's entered a price discovery mode, this is your last chance to really start stacking on those altcoins. It's almost like a green light for Ethereum to chase towards that $3,000 mark, which also pushes utility higher. These are the moments where historically some of the biggest runs in the altcoin market has started to happen. In this video, I'm going to break down the exact narratives, what tokens I'm focusing on, and we can start printing on some altcoins. So without further ado, let's get into it. So now that Bitcoin's made an all-time high, the next thing I'm watching very closely is the Bitcoin Dominance chart and the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. So at the moment, we are currently sat around 64%, making a lower high on the daily time frame. I mean, I wouldn't read too much into this at the moment, as looking back at the previous cycles, we did reach a peak of 70% back in 2020 before we saw the alt season start, and we did see a peak at 67% before we saw the rotation back in 2017. So I mean, we are still under that area of resistance, but we are getting close, and it does mean the altcoins could rotate very, very soon. And then there's Ethereum Bitcoin, which is currently at 0.024, is a key historical level. Every time Ethereum hits this zone, it bounces and it tends to outperform Bitcoin, which leads to capital going into the rest of the alt market. So if Ethereum flips bullish here, this is usually when the alt season really begins. So let's look at a few tokens that I'm watching currently right now. And to start with, we're going to be looking at 𝗕𝗟𝗀𝗀𝗙𝗂𝗧. So 𝗕𝗙𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 is an absurd name. It's got viral potential. The media absolutely love it, and it's obvious that this is the chosen token for this cycle. If we are to see the media pick it up again, and I'm sure they will, a 1.5 billion market cap will look cheap compared to where it's going. If we do see double-digit market cap over the next couple of months, I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest to put an easy 10x on 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗏. Next on the list is Trump. This one has the narrative momentum. Trump himself is hosting a private dinner at the top 220 holders at one of his golf clubs, I believe. Justin's son has publicly announced that he'll be attending, so obviously he's got a big bag. But the real world events around the meme coin, that's how it pumped early in the cycle, and Donald himself hasn't really spoke about the token too much over the last couple of months, which only means he's probably going to drop it again in conversation when all the money starts flowing back into the market. So again, currently it's a big market cap at $3 billion. It did peak around the $9 billion mark back in, well, when it first launched back in January, which sucked out the liquidity of the market. And again, I wouldn't be shocked if that happens in a quite quick capitulation event. Everything runs back to Trump, and it'll push it back to probably all-time highs. If that does happen, we're probably going to see another token, which is 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. So it's a lower market cap at $110 million. However, it's got the full meme energy. It's somehow attached itself to AI. It's a meme coin, but because the AI narrative starts running, so will 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗏. Alex Becker, he's mentioned it a couple of times in his previous video, but again, if he mentions this token when all the money starts flowing back into the market, the greed is everywhere, this will probably run back to all-time high. Again, I wouldn't look at the all-time high too much, because it did launch at the back end of the... Yeah, so it launched... Yeah, the last week of December, when it really started to die down a little bit. But even that, it did peak around 55 cents, so we're looking at a 4.5x to run back to that level. If we did see a billion, 2 billion market cap, I wouldn't be shocked, which leaves a nice little 20-30x on the table. So moving on to something a little bit more serious is the AI market. It's one of the strongest long-term narratives in crypto, and a lot of people got burnt chasing hype months ago, but the real projects are there, still building, and they're starting to move again. So the first token we're going to be looking at is 𝗏𝗏 AI. It's got one of the strongest communities on X. You can't log on without seeing 𝗏𝗏 somewhere, and it's got a market cap of $150 million. It did peak around 90 cents back in March of 2024. This will run back to all-time highs without an issue, in my opinion. The market cap was, just over $600 million, which is is nothing compared to where it's going. If it does run to $2-3 billion, I wouldn't be shocked. It would be a clear 20x from here. So next up on the list is a token that I've been buying for a while, and it's Spectra AI. So it's currently got a $30 million market cap, and I'm not going to go into detail what it does, but the AI and the tech behind it, I covered in my previous video, is incredible. The team are constantly delivering updates every day on X, and it's starting to grab a lot of attention. So, I mean, if this does 20-30x from here quite quickly, wouldn't be shocked. So lastly, going on to, in my opinion, the leader of AI, it's Destra Network with a $170 million market cap. It did peak around 50 cents back in January this year, and I believe we're on our way back to those sort of levels. The tech behind what they're actually building is advanced. It has one of the strongest, and again, let me break it down. The community makes absolutely everything, and the marketing makes everything when it comes to the price influence to the token, for the say. If there is no marketing and there is no community, the price won't run. So every token that I'm mentioning has a very strong market behind it. Saying that, I do believe the market cap will probably run towards $1 billion quite quickly, and at that point I think things might start slowing down, but I think this will run to $2 or $3 billion in the near future. So that ticks off the third AI token that I'm buying this week. Quick heads up before we dive deeper, this video is sponsored by 𝗕𝗏𝗾, the exchange I'm using for every single trade I make in the 1 to 10k challenge. 𝗕𝗏𝗾 is a no KYC exchange, so it's super smooth to use, and it's available right now in the UK and the USA from the App Store, and you can follow along every single play I make. Shout out to 𝗕𝗏𝗾 for supporting this channel. So let's get on to the next rotational move. So moving on to a gaming token that I believe is going to run quite hard, quite quickly, is Superverse. So this week they've just announced a new decentralized exchange, which is 𝗕𝗏𝗾. It's co-founded by Alex Becker and Elliott Trades, developed by Superverse, backed by the Avalanche Foundation. So it's built on AVAX, and all tokens are for the community. So 𝗕𝗏𝗾 combines the best parts of all decentralized exchanges, but with major upgrades. So you can lock tokens for up to 4 years or a week. You can burn tokens forever to get permanent boosts, more rewards, more voting power, no decay. What's crazy is the team's tokens are permanently burnt, so there's zero sell pressure coming from the developers ever. They've also launched Genesis Pools, which lets new projects bootstrap liquidity from the community instead of relying on VCs, which is awesome. On top of that, Avalanche itself backs it, which is obviously pushing hard into gaming and AI. This is a project that is building something real, something sustainable, and something with serious upside. So, in my opinion, Superverse is being slept on at a $500 million market cap. We did see a peak around the 1 billion market cap, which is a clear double from here. But in my opinion, it is running much harder than this. If we were to see a 4 or 5 billion market cap for Superverse over the next couple of months, I wouldn't be shocked. So before I wrap this up, I want to mention one of the most slept on tokens in the entire market right now, and that's Echelon Prime. You guys already know I'm a big believer in Prime. It powers the entire parallel universe, not just a trading card game, but the parallel colony and their upcoming first-person shooter. This token's connected to so many moving parts, from AI to gaming and the digital economies, and yet it's somehow still flying under the radar. At a market cap of around $136 million, I genuinely think this is undervalued when we start seeing the gaming and AI narratives rotate again. Prime is going to be one of those tokens I could see trending straight back towards that 1 billion fully diluted mark or even higher. Keep this one on the radar, but I've been stacking very hard around the $3, $3.50 mark. And I believe, like I said, it runs very hard. Alright guys, so that wraps it up. We've got Bitcoin at its all-time high. We've got the alt market signals flashing. Meme coins are starting to heat up. AI is making a comeback, and Super and Prime are looking like absolute sleeper plays. If you found this video helpful, drop a like, leave a comment, and make sure you're subscribed. I drop alpha like this every single day on my Twitter, so if you head over there and give it a follow, and don't forget the 1 to 10k challenge is live right now in the free Discord sponsored by 𝗕𝗏𝗾, and I'll see you in the next one.